Ukraine is not Russia. Say it again. Ukraine is not Russia. If you're going to do an expose on a war-torn town and do it half-assed, you better not pick my second home, my love, Odesa. Odesa is the jewel of the Black Sea. It's a port town, and like all port towns from Charleston to Cape Town, that means it is full of culture, multinational demographics, as well as a few cutthroat pirates. This arms-open approach to the world should not be seen as giving Russia a pass. It's not odd in Odesa to hear your barista speaking Ukrainian to you in the coffee shop, but Russian to her friends on the street. Make no mistake, however, Odesa is clear-eyed on who the Russians really are and what their ultimate goal for Ukraine really is. The Telegraph recently released a 10-minute video about Odesa. On paper, it's about Ukrainian culture in wartime. In practice, it says far more about Europe's approach to Ukraine than it does about the city itself. In this video, we will challenge the slapdash effort of the Telegraph and question its confusing editorial choices. Finally, we will show that this mini expose is a near-perfect metaphor for Europe's reaction to full-scale war on its continent. The film tackles just 3 cultural issues: where the Pushkin statue should remain, a brief look at the Primorsky or Pushkin Steps, and should Russian music be played in Ukraine. For reasons that make very little sense, several minutes are also spent on underground chess tournaments. Not sure what that is supposed to be. This isn't depth. It's the illusion of coverage. A subject that deserves a full-length documentary, Russia's systematic theft of Ukrainian culture, is reduced to 10 minutes of confusing stock footage and filler. Europe acknowledges the war, but always at arm's length. Symbolic gestures, minimal effort, never the real commitment that Ukraine needs. They want to acknowledge the conflict just to ease their conscience, while still holding on to hope of returning to their old lives untouched. It's the least they can do. And let me ruin this for you, Europe. Your old life is over. The choices inside the video compound the problem. By focusing exclusively on Russian art, it contributes to the very colonial theft of culture it should be interrogating. How do you talk about Odesa and fail to mention Shevchenko, Ukraine's national poet? How do you ignore Odesa's role as a commercial and cultural hub, one of the greatest port cities in history, and not use this as a natural gateway to discuss its unique and diverse architecture? How do you cover culture in Odesa without its opera house, one of the most iconic in Europe? Oh, but wait! The opera house appears many times. Opera house, opera house, opera house. They even have a conversation inside the opera house, don't they? No. For some reason, some very odd reason, an editorial choice was made to cut together both the location of the Philharmonic and the opera house. Why? Why confuse viewers into thinking these are one location? These omissions aren't accidents. They're a worldview, one where Russia's culture is foregrounded and Ukraine's is sidelined. So what does this short film actually show us? Not the resilience of Odesa, not the richness of Ukrainian culture, but the way Europe still approaches this war, superficially, symbolically, and always taking the easy road. But hey, there is an unlikely hero in the Telegraph's mini expose. It wasn't the conductor or the chess players. It was a bystander, a man who, in very Odesa fashion, inserted himself into the piece. His view captures what many in the city feel about the remnants of Russian control. He said the statues should stay, but if tearing them down would bring peace, he would be the first to help remove them. That sentiment resonates with me. I'm from the American South, where streets, schools, and public buildings still carry the names of Confederate generals and slave owners. My view has always been this: Leave the statues, but add the context. Erasing history is a very Russian thing to do. They destroy archives, they rewrite textbooks, they bury memory. Ukraine does not need to mimic that. The better path is to tell the full story. Leave Pushkin's statue standing, but add the modern truth of who he was and how his influence was overstated as part of Russia's efforts to Russify Ukraine. That's a better guide for Odesa and for Ukraine as a whole. Don't erase history, contextualize it. Show the whole truth right there in the open. Hey, if you are still listening, you must have enjoyed something. So subscribe and like the video if you did, and thank you very much.